Right, resume review for Chisom. So, CS manager, client retention. Okay, so first, right off the bat, I like the fact that you're listing the roles or the types of roles that you're trying to get into and or have done before. This is a good start. I also like the fact that your LinkedIn URL is not a raw URL. It's a hyperlinked URL, which is great. It helps to save space. At first glance, the resume looks incredibly well designed and well formatted, which is great to see. When I'm looking at the dates, I can see that you're using the same format all throughout, which is good to see as well. So month written in full, followed by year written in full. I guess the only difference is just a different type of dash that's being used, but that's minor and isn't going to affect you. When I look at the summary section, I think it's good. However, I do think it's slightly a bit long. Saying customer success and client operations professional with experience supporting does seem to be a bit of waffle in that degree. And I would actually cut this down to just say something like experienced customer success manager supporting 15 to 20 plus client campaigns. And I assume this, you by agencies, you mean like marketing agencies, B2B agencies, that sort of thing. Across B2B agencies and outbound growth teams, okay, that reads well. Skilled in customer communication, onboarding support, CRM management, and workflow coordination using tools such as, this seems a very extensive, very excessive. Instead, say something like, speak more to how you do use those tools, which I think is great that you do that. But this needs to be cleaned up it just needs to be made a little bit more snappier that way. Managed 5,000 plus lead and customer records. Okay, so that's like CRM records, I get it. While maintaining high operational accuracy and consistent client engagement. It would be great to state the percentage. What is the client engagement success look like? Consistent client engagement, what does that actually look like? Is that via like NPS, the percentage of clients that you work with who are happy with the performance of the outbound work that you do with them? So that's the only thing that I'd probably be curious about. The one thing missing here is about the types of organizations you want to work with. Though you do mention agencies and outbound growth teams, so if you are applying to roles like this already covers it, but it would be handy to also include what you're looking for in your next role, what types of organizations you're looking for in your next role. The advantage that you have here is the fact that with your roles listed as remote, I think that's great. It might also be good to list the country that the organization's HQ is at. I think that's actually really helpful, because sometimes if you're applying for a role and wanting you to make sure that you have experience working with companies based in EMEA or based in the US, and they can't tell at a first glance whether the organizations you work with are US based, European based, or EMEA based organizations, it would just be helpful to include that. I assume that it's US, but I could be wrong. And okay, so these are the roles that you've had, which is great. Okay, nice. So you've stuck to the 4 bullets per role recommendation that we've had in previous videos, which is great. I see that there's a stray bullet point here, so that can be removed. It's very, very minor. And the one thing that I would probably suggest you do is that you bold the metrics that's of most importance, and that you reorganize them so that the metrics with the biggest impact is showed first and is mentioned first. So instead of saying something like maintained and optimized outreach systems across blah 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 blah, start with the metric itself and say that you've maintained a 100% tracking record of qualified leads with 0 missed opportunities. Start there, and then you explain how you did that, which would just make it easier. The rest looks good though. I'm just trying to look at the legitimacy of some of these. Average campaign open rates of 60%. That's very good. That's very strong. This should be bolded, and this should be put to the left as well. It's really important, because this shows that you could actually not only just do a customer success type role, but this is a sign that you could also potentially do a BDR role as well. So you could do BDR, you could do SDR. You have the expertise here to, once you've done those roles, to then move up into becoming like an AE, or to becoming some kind of solutions architect, or a customer success manager, a senior success manager on that front. At first glance, that's what I see there. Skills section, maybe just some weird characters here. See if you can remove those, whatever these 3 dots are. Okay, I like the fact that there's no generic skill mentioned. That's actually a massive positive. And the tools, I like that you've also mentioned the different tools that you actually use, which is actually really great. So use some automation, make.com, Zapier, etc. It might be better to categorize them. So things like Zapier and Make are like automation tools, whereas outbound tools like Apollo Clay, Clay kind of. Yeah, I would definitely just make sure you put them together into categories, just so it makes it look cleaner. But other than that, that's also pretty good. Let me see if there's anything else that I've missed here. Yeah, the only kind of issue that I can mention is just the fact that the 3 roles that you've had at 3 different companies and they're all less than a year, which might be seen as a concern to employers. So it might just be worth making sure that you do have a story to explain why that is the case and why you haven't stayed on. Obviously, there's lots of things that could happen in your working life and career that could result in why you haven't been able to stay at a company longer than a year, but it would definitely be something worth paying attention to. But other than that, overall, I think you basically have everything else pretty much covered. I don't really see any other huge red flags here besides those things that I've mentioned. So what we've done so far is, and the feedback I've given you so far would at the very least put you in equal footing with other strong candidates to start with. It won't necessarily be enough for you to be chosen, but it would put you in good standing to be able to compete with them. Next, it's just going to be a case about making sure that are these metrics and are these bullets that you put here positioning you in such a way where you are uniquely positioned to be successful for whichever role it is that you're applying to. That's the next question. But from a resume perspective, from a formatting and layout perspective, it's pretty good. The content is strong, and the fact that it's basically on page is also really great as well. A lot of the bases have been covered here, which is great to see.
Let me see if there's anything else.
Okay. So the fact that you're in education, or you just basically finished your education, is actually a good sign. So that kind of makes sense. So you finished in March and then you immediately was working as you finished up. That's good. This is pretty good. But yeah, make those changes and let me know what you think of that, and I will get back to you to try and see how we can help further. Thanks. Speak soon. Bye.